Hey, it's your girl Jennifer, and this is Leadership Matters. Today we're talking about just some information I came across and responding to some questions in the process. So for those of you who are looking to make a career change, kudos to you. That is not a a small feat. That is a big change, a big deal, but often necessary to continue on our journey, right? And where we intend to go and where we see ourselves in the future. Remember I told you, if you've been watching my channel for some time, that you can read, professional magazines, go online, begin to network at professional associations with other trainers, go on LinkedIn, get involved in some of the discussions and groups and things of that nature. There was something that came up this week that I saw. There was a discussion about the different roles in training and development and what the different titles to the different roles. And as it turns out, some of the roles really, in fact, are not different. They're just titled differently. And you will find that in different organizations that, the same role may be called a different thing. I don't want those of you who are starting to branch out and look to make a change to be confused or be intimidated or feel overwhelmed by that. If you just do a simple Google search on training and development or ID jobs, instructional design, you will come up with a myriad of job descriptions. And a lot of times organizations will just copy and paste that job description over. I will say this, and this is just based on my experience. And please, if you have different experience or you're experiencing different things even now, go ahead and leave that in the comments to help other people who are looking at these videos and trying to get trying to level set and figure out the correct direction to go into, or the correct direction to take in their job search. I don't want you to be intimidated by this. It's been my experience that it doesn't really matter what they call the job on the job description. It really doesn't matter what the HR, what the recruiter says in your first level interview, or even what's said in your second level interview. They're taking, certainly they're taking their cues from the hiring manager. But what I would say is to reserve all your questions for the interview that you have with the team that you'll be working with and or the manager that you'll be reporting to, because it's been my experience that all sounds good. All the industry jargon and terminology and the new roles and the new trends, they all sound good. But is that what's really taking place in their department? I told you in a recent video that even though the job description talked about articulate and captivate and, gaming and things of that nature in a project that I'm involved with today, I am developing in Word and in PowerPoint. This is a comprehensive multi-day program that I'm basically developing from scratch. The materials that they had were, decades old. And I probably now have a student guide that's about 200 pages compared to the guide that they gave me that's decades old that has about 20 Xerox copies from a manufacturer that they used their products. So some companies really do walk the walk or walk the talk rather. Some companies really are, on the cusp of these trends and learning and development and learning experiences and all of those things. I will say this, what has worked for me in the last 20 years is that I'm passionate about what I do. I know how to connect and engage learners, and I know how to explain what I feel is necessary based on the needs analysis and the experience that I've had in the field to ensure that a learning experience, project, whatever they're terming it, is successful. But I know enough now to know that there's a certain way that I work. There's certain needs that need to be met in the way that I work, and that every organization and every role is not a fit. It's not going to be a fit. It's not supposed to be a fit in the way that, you know, I have come to learn and do my job. But that took, again, years and years and years of being out in the industry, seeing how people do things, and everybody doesn't do things the same way. Every organization doesn't do things the same way. Every training and development department doesn't do the same things the same way. Every instructional designer doesn't design the same things in the same way. So you're going to learn a lot of different ways and varieties, and what you're going to be challenged with, and what I'm going to challenge you with, is finding what works best for you, as it relates to where you want to go, how you see your career. What, you know, I'm big about saying, what is it you want to do? Where do you want to do it? Why do you want to do that? These fundamental questions are important so that you can use them as a foundation or a jumping point to know where to go, and to, you know, and get additional information, and to potentially have, you know, a blossoming long-term career. I pretty much stayed in the same capacity I was in when I started in training and development. I think I've said this a couple times before in videos, that I started at a time where we did everything, that roles were not nearly as differentiated as they are today. They're not nearly as siloed as they are today. I am working on a project primarily by myself, and when I need to touch bases with the project manager, I do so. But that's not the way that I started my career, and I'm okay with that. I actually prefer to work autonomously. That's just, you know, my preference. I can work either way because I've done so for such a period of time throughout my career. But I've learned that I have to know what I need to be successful in my role, so that way when I'm asked by my manager or by my client or by whomever, I can say, this is what I need to provide you with X, Y, and Z. So I just want to encourage you, don't get caught up in the trends. Don't get caught up in the conversations. Definitely, if you haven't done so already, immerse yourselves in those groups. Follow individuals who, you know, have experience in the industry, because they'll give you a varied perspective that's probably different than mine or may align with mine. But either way, it will give you additional information so that you can make the determination about what you think is right for you. I will say this in closing, that we've all, you know, had teachers. We've all gone to school. We've all grown up, and we've had favorite teachers, and we've had teachers that are, you know, not necessarily our favorites. And we've had great professors, and we've gone to college, and we've had really horrible professors. And I think what differentiates for me those experiences was really the level of engagement of that teacher, to what degree they were willing to extend themselves to help, to what degree they engaged with me and other students or participants, or as we went through the process, and how passionate they themselves were about their job. That you can know, there's a lot of people who know a lot of things, professors in particular, who profess to know things, are well published, have their PhD, but they bomb as teachers because they don't connect with their learners. They don't make learning fun. They don't, you know, break everything down step by step, because they're so highly intelligent. They are so, you know, have such vast experiences in their field. A lot of them are experts, so they use closure. So they don't, the minute step that we need to understand it, they already know. So I would say, as opposed to focusing on certifications and or degrees, I mean, you can go Google. There's a million master's programs or higher ed programs and or certifications in training and development, and you can do that, and that's great. It's great to have that expertise and expand your practical knowledge, but it's the practice. You know, theory is theory, but it's the practicum. It's the practice that really begins to help things to crystallize for you to say, okay, I can see how this fits, or I understand it better. And a lot of times, you know, some of the workshops, certifications, you'll get that from other people in the field. But you also need to do some of your own research as you sit in as a participant in training, to identify, or even if you don't, like even in past training you've had, what made that training great? What made that facilitator stand out? What about the materials made them easy to digest and process? And which materials do I even go back to? when I'm on the job, you know, were the job aids even effective? Do I go back to those things? Was it a complete and utter waste of time, or is it something that I would willingly go through again? So be encouraged. I'm always going to come in here with a word of encouragement. I'm getting your emails, I'm getting your comments about what you should do. And I will definitely give you my thoughts on video and responding to your comments. But my thoughts don't matter as much as your thoughts and what it is that you want to do, because our experiences are going to be different. And there's no one way, there's no cookie cutter way to do things to be successful or to even be fulfilled. And if you're not passionate about it, that's a surefire way for you not to do well in this industry, because your participants will know it. If you found this video valuable, as always, I'm asking you to give me a thumbs up, hit that like button, go ahead and subscribe, and don't forget to hit the notification bell so that you'll be notified every time I upload new content. I also want to tell you guys that I'm working on some digital products and other things in response to some of the emails that I've gotten about mentoring and other things that should help you along the way as you start to plot out this course and make some course corrections along the way. I'm going to be here to help you. So go ahead and continue to comment. Thanks for the emails. Thanks for reaching out, and I'll see you in my next video.